Hello there, welcome to another edition of Matt's Chats. This is a series of short videos where we sit and talk to people in and around the whisky industry to try and bring it to life a little bit for you. And I'm delighted to be here at Lochlea Distillery in Ayrshire with John Campbell, your production director, master blender, sort of a little bit of everything, right?
Just a wee bit of everything, yeah.
But thank you for having me here today.
Great to have you here. It's just not many people get to come to Lochlea, but just because of our setup right now.
So you're not open to the public, are you?
Unfortunately, not yet. No, but it's something we're looking at, working on. Just really don't have the infrastructure in place because it's a farm in the middle of Ayrshire, so literally. So
well, I feel very privileged. It's a very impressive setup you've got here. So for those people that maybe haven't heard of Lochlea, can you just kind of talk through what the ethos is and what's going on here?
Yeah, so Lochlea started just over 5 years ago, and it was basically working away in the background making whisky, not really telling anybody, and then all of a sudden we released a whisky and probably caught people by surprise. So we've then launched that last year, 2022, kind of building on that all the time, hopefully up until we do release age statements in the near future, I would say. They'll be coming. So yeah, it's what's the ethos of Lochlea? So it's a farm. It's all the barley for the distillery is grown on the farm. So we've got 600.
And that's quite unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there'll be maybe less than 5 that do 100% of their own barley, because there are the likes of Springbank who will do local barley editions. Kilhoman, even on Islay, will do local barley editions. But not many people do 100% of the malted barley on site. So we store that here as well. We don't actually malt it on site as yet, but we will process it on site through, just as you said, the equipment we've got is really good. It's all fitted by Forsyths. So it's the best of equipment. We mature on site as well, we'll fill on site, and we will also get the bottlings ready on site. We don't bottle on site either, so that's, I guess, the last thing that we kind of don't do. It's all distributed from Lochlea, so it goes away to be bottled and come back. And then the only other thing we don't really do to be a single farm site or single site entity is process our pot ale. We do process all our washing waters and spent lees on site and put that through reed beds, but we just need to take care of our pot ale, and then we'll be doing everything once. And that's, I guess, why am I saying this? Because ultimately that's the steps we're probably heading towards.
And a few weeks ago you did the harvest here. I've just seen all the barley, so you literally have all the barley for the next year of production. So something like 600 tonnes, I believe.
Yeah, so basically what we'll do, we'll produce the barley this year, for calendar year next year. So it's in dormant now, and then January next year we'll start to take the 2023 harvest and process it through 2024.
Now obviously I've met you before, but not at Lochlea. It's when you were at Lefroy, you were distillery manager there for a long time. A very famous brand on Islay.
Yep.
So can you just explain a little bit about, obviously not talk too much about Lefroy because we're here about Lochlea, but just your journey as what brought you here, what interested you?
And Lefroy's awesome. It always will be awesome, and it's been more than half my life. So and I'm from Islay as well, so it was absolutely awesome to be able to represent Lefroy and be the distillery manager for over 16 years and become the longest ever distillery manager at Lefroy in Lefroy's history. It's fantastic. Especially on the consumer side, the people that really love Lefroy. So from that point of view, it was awesome. And I guess, why did it change? Probably if it wasn't for COVID, it wouldn't have changed. It just gave me a chance to reflect a bit, as I'm sure we all did during COVID, and thought, I'm probably just over halfway through my working life. What do I want to do? And the answer, I guess, was there had been nothing wrong with staying at Lefroy, because I don't know, I just still have it in such a a high regard, but equally, like, I think more from a technical and academical point of view, I knew all the answers at Lefroy. So I just had a nagging thing that kept staying in my head, like push yourself.
Did you want a new challenge?
Stretch yourself. Go to somewhere where you don't know the answers, John.
Yeah.
And that was it. And so I came to Lochlea, which couldn't be further away from Lefroy if I tried, I don't think, in so many aspects. So the fact that it's such a small production, Lochlea will do in a week what Lefroy does every 8 hours. So it's like
that really puts
scale.
it into context, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's nothing like it. It's totally unpeated versus totally peated.
Yeah.
And nobody knew about Lochlea, whereas everyone knows about Lefroy. You might not even like Lefroy, but you'll kind of respect it and have it in a place it's over 200 years old. So
even my non-whiskey friends know Lefroy.
Yeah,
they're kind of like,
no, it's an iconic. It's even within whiskey, it's iconic.
Whether they like it or dislike it, they know about it, and that's where a brand sort of transcends, isn't it?
Yes. No, I totally. And the green bottle, white label.
Yeah, it's
excuse me.
Iconic is used.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. So you came over here, and as I sort of introduced you, you do a little bit of everything. Today I've seen you do various things.
Yes.
You're sort of twiddling on the spirit safe, and you're kind of checking this, checking that. So you're still very hands-on.
Yes.
But you're also selecting the casks. You're doing.
Yeah, you're doing everything. Like I was in London at the Whisky Show where
Yeah.
we met again
Yeah.
and again. So you're representing. You're in the front end. You're in the back end. You're helping. Like we turn the floors from the floor malting, etc. So because we do some campaigns at the distillery, because I've just got that experience coming from Lefroy as well. So no, like you have to do a bit. It's a small business.
Yeah, it must be great for like these guys. Obviously, a new setup, relatively. To have someone of your experience come in.
I would have thought so. I would assume so, and just I've probably got a lot more. Well, I've definitely got a lot more experience than most of the team. I'm the second oldest in the business, so and I've just got confidence, I guess, from doing it for 30 years. I know I've made a lot of mistakes, so I know I've just got that.
That's the way
great
you learn,
thing.
right?
Yeah, no, totally.
We all do.
Totally.
That.
So, and that's the great thing about being allowed to make mistakes in the companies I was with previously as well. Try this, do that. Like, let's see. Push it, like we did a lot with Carchis with Lefroy, pushing Lefroy, see how far we could push it, because it can take a lot of pushing. Lefroy as well, whereas Lochlea, and we're building up that robustness and building up that understanding of the liquid profile. So that's the exciting bit, to try and find the boundaries and what's working well, and different things work well at Lochlea
that wouldn't work at another place.
Yes.
I think from talking to people about the brands, what people seem to like is this single farm aspect, especially in this day and age. People are looking at the carbon neutral, net zero, they're looking at air miles, and everything is literally here. I think people love that. And it's also reflected in the range. We've got some of the bottles here.
That's it.
I mean, you've got several sort of limited editions or small batch releases here. And obviously some of them reflect the barley in particular, the season that the barley or the crop of barley that came in. So can you just explain a little bit about the range?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So
then we're going to have a little tasting of one in the end.
So you've got sowing, which is spring, basically on the farm. So we sow the barley or the seed into the ground in the spring, and then we've got the harvest, which is summer. And that the harvest will normally come August time.
So I guess a lot of people don't realise that actually when you plant the barley affects what happens to the barley and the nutrients and the flavours that you get from it. So what you're showing is actually different times of the year what's then coming through. So that's really interesting.
And probably a lot of people don't know this either.
But they just assume barley's
the
right?
green fields in the spring, there's a lot of clay in the soil in Lochlea, and also the summer sunsets is part of harvest. The reason fallow is purple is because we plant beetroot as a cover crop in the winter. So that helps uncompact the soil. We do mustard seed and beetroot.
Right.
So that's in the fields now because we're now into autumn.
So I use mustard seed on my allotment actually to do exactly the same. Same thing. Yeah, it breaks up the soil and then you just dig it in.
The fluffier we can keep the soil, the better for the sowing next year. And then ploughing basically happens in winter, so probably around February time, just before we start sowing. So and the colour just represents again the skies at that time of year. It's a kind of bluey grey, and that also links with the flavours as well. So sowing will be first of all bourbons. Harvest will be port forward, Lochlea. Fallow is the big sherry flavoured Lochlea, and then ploughing is peated casks.
Right.
We're talking about our story with the labels and the design, but we're also trying out different styles of whisky on consumers to see which is popular, so that we'll also get feedback to help direct the future of the business as well.
Yeah, so that's really interesting that you do that, and it sort of pushes it in, a bit like you were saying before, pushing it in different directions, see what happens. So I think we're going to have a taste of, we've got our barley up here as well, which
that's the core.
I'll just show, this is the core product here.
And that was released in June last year, so it's just over a year old. And that's a mix of 3 styles of casks. So we have first of all bourbon, sherry butts and STRs. So we're still pretty young, so we're building up a lot of some of the flavours in this with the casks that we'll use too. They all play different roles. So the bourbons will give a nice kind of vanilla note. The sherry butts will give a nice dry fruit. And then the STRs give a kind of black pepper florally note.
So well. STR, for those of you who don't know, is what is it? Shaved, toasted, recharred.
So it's an ex-red wine cask that's basically had the inside shaved, toasted, and then recharred. There are different levels of charring. We generally go for a medium toast for Lochlea because we don't want it to.
Shall we have a little dram and we just do some basic notes?
Yeah. So one of the things about the Lochlea new spirit of the still is that we're trying to create a really fruit-forward whisky.
Thank you, John.
So we have pretty high cuts, I would say, compared to the rest of the industry.
That is really fruity, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
so that's lovely, sort of that green, appley, pears, bit of orange, maybe.
That's exactly the flavours we're looking for. Yep. So it's definitely fruit-forward whisky. You should maybe get a bit of cereal in there too. We're looking for cereal notes because, well, that's a big part of our story.
Maltiness sort of underpinning everything.
Yep, and then there should be a bit of grassy, and that'll probably come through more in the palate than on the nose. So here we go.
Should we have a little taste? Cheers.
Everything we do is non-chill filtered, non-coloured as well. So this is 46% alcohol, non-chill filtered, non-coloured.
It's really refreshing and vibrant, isn't it? It's my initial.
Yeah, no, it's
creamy too.
Yes, no, and you do get quite a kind of nutty or nutmeg flavour coming through in the palate as well. So it does linger and it kind of moves in the middle of your tongue and it goes forward and to the side. So it starts to become it feels sweeter, almost that orangey kind of sweetness, and then out to the side, and you get more of that grassy note coming through now.
So you obviously developed this as the first sort of core product.
Yes.
It's very important, obviously, to get it right, and that is delicious.
No, it's proved really, really popular, and it's award winning already too. So that is amazing. We've done well as a team, preparing and getting the liquid ready and organised, and we will look to probably improve it as well as time goes on, and that'll be through different things. Like we will age it up a wee bit to bring more of that kind of weight to the liquids. We will maybe try experiments in the background to see if they work on the components, because it's basically about 18% sherry, but it feels more, and that was a trick I was told by an ex-blender at Allied Distillers. And it's called a flavour bomb, basically. So if you put a certain percentage of a liquid in a liquid, it'll feel more.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, just using your experience to try and push what we can be, and because it's very important as a new distillery that you hit the ground running, and that you keep showing people your development and your building, and you're hopefully improving as you go along as well.
Well, thank you very much, John. That's amazing to have a chat with you and to talk about Lochlea, and thank you so much for having me here today as well. It's been absolutely great to sort of look around. So thank you very much, John. Thanks for your time.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.